UFC 223, one of the most controversial UFCs of all time, where Jon Jones has some suspicious tests, drug tests, and so at the last minute, of course, they moved the whole event from Nevada because their athletic commission wouldn't license him to California, and this is one of the most anticipated fights of all time, at least in Jones's career, because Jones versus Gustafsson won. That's the only fight that Jones has had that's been really close, and a lot of people even felt that Gustafsson actually won that. I didn't, but it was a close fight, and it was a surprise. So I've never seen, with all this controversy and everything, in the UFC, they have their propaganda machine out in full force, and they're saying things like, we have proof that Jon Jones is innocent, as if you could actually prove something like that. But they have their PR and their spin machine out in full force. It doesn't seem that many people are buying it. And this is the first time that I've seen a fighter since Ronda Rousey where it seems like the vast majority, maybe 80 to 90% of fans, maybe even more, are rooting for him not only to lose, but lose by vicious knockout. It's kind of like Ronda, with every fight she would have, a lot of people were just tuning in because they were hoping to see her lose. And with every victory, it just fueled that in people more, until we were blessed with the brutal head kick by Holly Holm. That is like a national holiday for MMA fans. That was great. But even with Conor McGregor, even though a lot of people root against him and want to see him lose, he also has a lot of people that love him and want to see him win. But with Jones, it seems like going into this fight, just everyone wanted to see him lose, but not only lose, but lose royalty. So, if you're one of those people, did you get your wish? Well, what actually happened was Jon Jones won, and won relatively easy. This was a much different fight than Jones-Gustafsson won. In that previous fight, Gustafsson came out and he took the fight to Jones, and he caught him by surprise. In this fight, round one, Gustafsson, he was much more laid back. There was much more of a feeling out process. He didn't really do a lot. Jones didn't do a lot in round one either, but he had the edge, so he won that. But you're thinking, well, this is a 5-round fight. They got to pace themselves. There's probably a lot of nerves. There's a lot that can still happen. Coming out in round two, Gustafsson did start opening up a lot more with his punches and his combinations, which is exactly what he needed to do. However, at the end of round two, Jones's effective kicks were starting to wear their toll. Jones had some very good kicks. He was throwing to the body. He was throwing high. A lot of those were blocked. But what really did it for Gus was the low leg kicks that Jones was landing. It was clear that he was chewing up his legs. And at the end of round two, Gustafsson did not look like he was moving well. He didn't look like he could effectively stand well. It was not looking good. Going into round three, Jones has the perfect game plan. He goes for the takedown, gets an easy takedown, and as anyone that is at all familiar with Jones knows, you do not want this guy on top of you. What Jones did very well once he got the takedown, unlike what a lot of wrestlers that fight hard for that takedown, what a lot of them don't do well, and I come from a wrestling background myself, obviously, but so many guys, they get that takedown and they don't take their time to establish control before they start throwing punches. And you'll see a lot of guys, they'll get that takedown and then they'll actually start throwing those punches, those uppercuts, and they actually kind of help the guy get back up to their feet, essentially kind of lifting them with those punches. One of the things that Ben Askren does almost better than anyone else in the entire sport is he uses very traditional folk style wrestling effectively. And Jones, he got on top, he got that half Nelson, he waited to establish position, and then once he got that dominant position where he could settle in, he started raining the bombs, and Gustafsson, he had no answers for it. It was a pretty easy victory overall for Jones, especially once he weakened Gustafsson with those leg kicks and took away his mobility. That was all she wrote. But of course, this has to be the most controversial UFC, at least one of them ever. And there's so many people that are, they don't think Jones is the real champion. Now, keep in mind, this is a guy who he has this substance in his body, and they're saying it's no big deal, it's not performance enhancing. However, they've given 2-year suspensions for guys that are first-time offenders that had a fifth of the amount that Jones currently has. But for whatever reason, they're making an exception with him. So we'll see what happens in the aftermath with the California Athletic Commission, the Nevada Athletic Commission. I'm sure we haven't heard the last of this controversy, but what do you think? Is Jones a steroid cheat? Is he just the greatest fighter of all time regardless? Now, obviously, I would have to say steroids definitely help him. We don't really know how good a lot of these guys would be if everyone was totally drug-free. But, like I said, we haven't heard the last of this, but what are your thoughts going forward? It'll be interesting to see. And we also have a lot of other good videos for you on this channel to check out. So have fun with those after leaving your comment.